Yo, yo, yo. This is the check-in. You got to give me a quick minute while I get some privacy things straight.
Privacy. What's up, man? It's your boy Jizzo. Man, glad to be back. Haven't been out, haven't been on the show for a couple weeks, but I'm back, man, and we got some new topics for y'all, and just things that we're gonna discuss. I'll just go ahead and kick it off with the disclaimer. So, man, we're not magic workers. We're not making miracles happen over here. We're giving y'all tools. We're not licensed therapists, psychologists, none of that. We're just trying to give ourselves and give y'all the tools to get through certain things that may be going on, affecting your mental health, affecting your life, and in turn affecting your mental health. So, stay tuned with us because that's what we're trying to do.
Big facts. And I'm your boy, Heat Detector. And just to piggyback again, like I always say, every show, if you dream of bunny rabbits and unicorns and cotton candy and all that shit, this is probably not the show for you. If you got you and you wear your emotions on your sleeve and you're easily offended, this is not the show for you. If you, I don't know, you don't like things that are being said, man, just change the damn channel. Go watch something else. You don't need to watch us. You know what I'm saying? We would prefer you not watch us, as a matter of fact, if I'm being completely honest. Because there's other people that need to hear this. And if you don't, and you don't like what's being said, move the fuck on. Plain and simple. Because we don't sugarcoat anything. Like, part of any growth and any understanding is accountability. And a lot of people don't have accountability. So be accountable. You don't like the shit, go and look on another channel. Go look at something else.
I think in discussions, when you're having arguments or back and forth with someone, I feel like
we haven't got to that yet.
No,
we haven't. Because I was just talking about the actual, like the disclaimer. I wasn't talking about what we're talking about today yet. Because I want to actually read it off first. Let's see here. So what we're going to be talking about today is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is the process of ending dispute and reaching an agreement that satisfies all parties involved. Since conflict is an essential part of being human, effective conflict resolution is not designed to avoid disagreements. Yeah, in other words, you can like disagree with somebody and it shouldn't be a problem. But it also extends even further than that, I think, because conflict is conflict, right? So if we're talking, you and I right now, and we get into a verbal debate about something or have a disagreement about something, we should be able to map and iron that out. But if we're thinking about like relationships with loved ones, family members, best friends, whatever, those things can get a little dicey, can get a little, because there's intimacy and shit involved, emotions and feelings and shit involved. And if you don't have good conflict resolution, that shit could spiral out of control quickly. You know what I'm saying?
But there's different, and there's different parts to resolving a conflict, and that's what I was getting to a second ago before
I rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, before you interrupted me. But I think there's parts to it. I think one of the things, let's say, is like accepting, like you said in the beginning, the responsibility. Like if you're not accepting the shit you did wrong in it, how can we kind of move on into fixing the situation if both parties aren't accepting? Because sometimes you do something wrong, you're the culprit, but accepting that, man, and then that way you can move on.
Well, you don't necessarily, I don't have to accept anything. I mean, I can still have my, if I'm, let's say we're having a dispute about something, I can still keep my opinion and still keep and feel that I'm right, but I can, at the same time, I just have to respect your thoughts or your, whatever it is that you're on. We can agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? or I can just walk away, or you could just walk away, or, whoever is involved in any of that. And they do say sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time, if you get into something like that, one of the best things to do is just, if you feel like that either you're not getting your point across or that you're unable to, and you're starting to get angry or frustrated, that you should just turn around and, tell the person, can we touch back on this in a few minutes or whatever, and just give yourself some space for the situation. And just walk out of the situation, but not just turn your back on the person, but just kind of like tell them you need a minute to take it in, process the shit. Because I know a lot of times I need a minute. If I start getting excited about something and I start getting a little over the top, I've learned I need to take myself out of the situation and walk the fuck off, gather my damn thoughts, and then come back and get some resolution or resolve or whatever.
Let me pose this. So I've heard in a few different situations, people say that walking away from the situation isn't the right thing. And I've heard this primarily on the woman's end, where they'll argue with their boyfriend. The boyfriend immediately walks away, and she's telling them this ain't the way to handle it. We get into an argument, you walk away, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so is it good? Is it bad? Because I've heard both sides. Like, I prefer to walk away, but I've also heard you need to can't just walk away from shit.
Some people they take that as, you're being dismissive. But that's why I said in that process, you say, hey, you explain to the person that you need a moment. Just give me a moment. You know what I'm saying? Give me a moment to go and take a breath. You remember OT used to say the 5-second rule. I don't know about the 5-second rule standing in front of a motherfucker, but I know that for me, just walking, like, I had a little bit of something earlier, and I walked off and I was still talking shit, and I probably shouldn't have. Well, I know I shouldn't have done that, but I knew I needed to walk away because things were getting a little elevated. But when I came back, it was just after taking a breath and come back to it, I'm just like, yo, I apologize for, But the part that should have been done on my part would say, hey, wait a minute, give me a second. That way it doesn't feel dismissive. If I walk off, it doesn't feel like, fuck you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I didn't do that, but then I came back in, and I think I also apologized for just walking off. But the part of it should be that you say, give me a minute, man. I just need to breathe for a second, however you want to put it, and then walk off. Because that person can say whatever the fuck they want, but you at least told them you needed a minute. I'll come back. We'll come right back to it. If it's 10 minutes later, it's an hour later, but we'll come back to it. And it also gives the other person a moment of reflection, a moment to gather their thoughts too, and to calm the whole situation down. Because when people get emotional and thoughts get fucking all hyped the fuck up, things will be said without any real provocation. You don't really need to provoke a motherfucker too much before they start saying outlandish ass shit.
And I think that's because we're blurting shit out when we're in that moment, and that shit is never good. I always say, like, there's a threshold. Like, if a motherfucker gonna argue somebody you fuck with, that you care about, like, yeah, y'all could argue. You could go back and forth, but I think once you get into, and I'm not gonna say the words, but some nasty name calling shit that you would say to someone, it's kind of like, that's why the communication is so big on trying to fix it and not taking it like that to that point where you just go overboard and you say something just really bogus. Because there's, like I said, in certain relationships, depending on how strong it is, there's certain shit you might could say to somebody, y'all can't come back from that.
No, you can always. That's a big misconception. You can say a lot of shit to anybody. And anything can be coming. You can come back. You can't come back from death, but you can come back from other things. You know what I'm saying? You can always come back. It's just a matter of if a motherfucker wants to put in the effort of understanding, the effort and the time of regaining trust and understanding for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But like, I could say something to you that would piss you off and probably hurt the fuck out of you, and I'm just using it as an example. And you may think to yourself, oh, that's some over foul shit, and there ain't no fucking coming back from that. In your heart of hearts and in your mind of minds, right? But the truth is, there is a comeback from that. If the other person is genuine, if the other person really understands that they said whatever they said out of spite or out of being hurtful or whatever, and then you also understand that that person didn't mean it, or was it the heat of the battle, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? The heat of the moment.
Yeah.
And that's why they say you're never supposed to really talk and do shit like that angry, because, you know, you have to be very mindful, man. The tongue is a goddamn sword. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a 2-part question.
Go ahead.
Have you came back from a situation where you said something really fucked up to somebody? I mean, like the top level. I don't mean like just some whatever shit. Top level shit. You said some bogus shit. And do you have a situation where you came back? And also, is there a situation that never fixed again because of something that you said?
I have, man, as an adult male, I don't think there's anybody on this fucking planet as an adult male that hasn't had those things happen. You know, so I've had multiple situations where I feel like I've said some shit that I can never take back. You know what I'm saying? To some people. And some people have said some things to me that even to this day, even when I'm in my little journey and everything, when I think, all right, I'm going to forgive this motherfucker, there's a part of me that doesn't want to. Mm-hmm. That there's a part of me that still says, fuck this motherfucker. And fuck everything he stands for. You know what I'm saying? Or she. But the truth is, all of that kind of internal shit stems from other things. You know what I mean? We talk about that all the time. We talk about childhood trauma and shit like that. And that shit is real. You know, and it affects us as adults. It affects our behaviors. It affects how we choose our friends. It affects how we break up, how we make up. It affects every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the shit, the little grudges and things I may hold on to for other people, even while I'm in this journey and going back and reflecting on some things and being like, man, but I've been lucky though, because there have been people that I've reached out to and I'm like, you know what? I was a real shitty motherfucker and I apologize deeply for the things I've said to you and the things I've done. And I've been very lucky in the regards that they have forgiven me and said it's cool. You know what I mean? You were in a fucked up place. I was in a fucked up place, or you were just in a fucked up place. I always understood that you were just, you know, in whatever shit you were in. I always understood that. Or, you know, there's a lot of different takes. There's some people that will probably never forgive me, but I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that too, because I've already forgiven myself, and that's a key to a lot of it too. That's a key to fucking conflict resolution, I believe. Is like, you know, if I get into it with said person, whoever it may be, and even in the midst of that, I'm constantly thinking, I need to step back, or I need to do this. And if I'm hearing this person say something that is really fucking with me, I know it's intentional, and I know those words and the intent of those words. And so I, like, low key have gotten to a point where I'm forgiving and I'm understanding those words when they come out. Then I understand that they don't mean what they're saying. That's just like the heat of the battle. You know what I mean? In a crazy ass fight, motherfucker's liable to bite your stomach off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he might be a professional boxer, but get him on the ground, he's liable to bite your belly button off. You know, and if he's trying to get up, you know what I mean? So in the heat of a battle, in the heat of an argument, you know, anything can be said. Things will be said. But that's why it's important, I think, to be mindful and be in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
And decide and yeah, be mindful and think about it, and like it. But even after, like, back to what you were just saying, like, yeah, it just depends on the person, on how some people are willing to forgive things that other people aren't willing to forgive. You know, like I've heard of some family where the mom left the dad and ran off with some other guy 2 blocks or 3 blocks from the house or something, and the one guy, the dad, went and stabbed them all up in the house, and he went to jail, and now you see them and they all hang out at the barbecue together, you know, the same 2 guys that like once were swinging knives at each other, whatever. They're, you know, it's crazy. You just think about that level of forgiveness, or people that you know that like you know, and someone that cheats on someone in a relationship and they forgive each other, and you might be like, oh, I would never forgive that. And, you know, but everybody's a different, it's just different levels to it, like what you're willing to forgive about. Cause yeah, I mean, everything, I guess everything is fixable besides death, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just if you know, we make choices every fucking day, bro. We make choices every day. Some of the choices that we make every day, we're not even realizing that we're making those choices. We're just doing. We're just reacting. We're just moving around. We're not even being in the moment to even understand the choices that we're making. So if I'm being dismissive to you, right? For instance, if I'm being dismissive to you and I'm not even aware of it because I'm upset with you, so me being upset with you is to avoid you and to be dismissive of anything that you say. And I may be doing it and not even be aware that I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I might have gotten mad at one point, or upset, feelings hurt, heartbroken, whatever the fuck. And now I'm just like doing other shit, but I'm really low key just keeping my mind off the fact that I fucking probably miss you, probably care about you. You know what I mean? Like, man, that's my guy. What the fuck? So in order for me, and at times motherfuckers don't want to admit they're wrong. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we were saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Admitting that if you did something wrong, because we both know that we've been all accused of some shit we ain't fucking do, and it wasn't even like that. But if you did do something wrong and you know you did, accepting that part. I meant to throw in earlier communication and all this. Not communication, listening.
Oh yeah, that's key.
I've been in situations where I've really needed this person to understand, to hear the way I interpreted what they did, what they said. Like, man, just hear me out. Even in relationships, babe, listen to me. Let me just explain to you. You know what I'm saying? Like how what you did made me feel, or like how I took what you did. But a lot of the times we get this tunnel vision if we're fighting with someone and we don't give a fuck what that person is saying. I don't want to hear your side of it. Blah, blah, blah. It's just here, you know?
Right. But couldn't that be flipped the other way around if you're trying? Because I know I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it for years, is that I want to push my agenda so hard. I want a person to hear what the fuck I'm saying so hard that I'm discarding whatever in the fuck.
Yeah, because that's easy, because you want to be heard. You feel like you know you didn't do wrong, and if you can only just say this piece, explain your piece of it, maybe they'll understand like what it was. That's happened to me a few times, bro, where I've like literally misunderstood something somebody said.
Or that's where listening comes in. Or
didn't interpret something somebody did the right way. I misinterpreted this shit, and I'll look like an ass after. You know what? I'll fucking apologize and be like, look, well, I'm sorry then. Like, I didn't hear it that way. If this is what you meant, okay, cool. You know, it is what it is, bro. Just accepting that, like, be an adult. If you think you did something wrong, you know, just apologize, which is easier said than done, because, you know, we've all probably been accused of not coming to apologize.
But even apologies are not, they're not the dead set into all ends and fixer.
No, it should be your proof of what you do. So
your actions.
That should be the
true apology is the actions. You know what I'm saying? If I say to Jizzo, hey man, I'm never gonna disregard your thoughts, your feelings, or whatever. And all this shit, but by the way, all this shit to a lot of you dudes, man, all this shit may sound like real pussy ass shit, to be honest. Because I know before I got on this journey that I'm on, even the thought of saying to somebody, man, I appreciate, and you know, I'm not gonna try to I'm not gonna disregard your feelings anymore or whatever. All that shit sounded pussy to me. It sounded real fucking pussy. Like I can't put it any other way.
In a way, it can still feel that way.
Well, I mean, if you're an idiot, I mean, like, because if you really think about it, like, why would that make me sound pussy telling you that I respect you and I respect your feelings and I respect who you are as a person enough.
I'll tell you why, because motherfuckers got egos, and it's the same reason why they'll see us at a show and know what it is, what we do, or what you do, or what I do, and won't come up and say some shit, or just head nod from far away instead of being like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I see what y'all been doing. I fucking rock with it, because we got those people. We got the people that are the men that come to us that know what we do. Acknowledge, hey, man, salute to what you do, and we respond the same way. But the other part of it is that ego fucking trip that doesn't allow motherfuckers to talk or to salute themselves or commend themselves, because we got this ego shit. So part of that ego part, and then you talking about, oh, hey man, you know, this and this and this. Yeah, it could seem soft to some people. It could seem soft.
I know that it did for me for a lot of years. And even in the beginning of the journey that I'm on, even the thought of me saying something like that sounded really fucked up in my head. It sounded like, man, I ain't finna say that shit. Man, I ain't like on some like, man, I'm fuck that.
A while back, one of the homies sent me a message, and it said, hey bro, I love you and miss you. This was like 2 years ago. And it wasn't a guy that I like grew up with or whatever, but it was a guy like I knew and I like been working with. And yeah, it was kind of hard to read that because I'm just trained to, I don't know what it is.
We're trained as men to like, if another man says something that remotely sounds either gay or fucking soft, we immediately go to some kind of place of, oh, that's fucking gay, or uncomfortableness, uncomfortability. You know what I'm saying?
My buddy tells my dad, he hasn't seen him in years, and he sees him and says, hey, Felipe, man, you look good, man. And my dad goes, hey, what, man, you trying to take me on a date or what? Like, you know, it just is what it is. And that whole spectrum of that is if any kind of love that's showed or whatever. But it's cool, though, because I think nowadays and the atmosphere that a lot of us and the homies are in and everybody is like, it's cool to show love and show love back, man. People come on and all the different shows here at Unwrap, they show love, y'all show love back. Like we're definitely changing the narrative on that, and hopefully a conversation like this does too. Tell somebody that you rock with them, man. You know, tell somebody you rock with them. Tell them you fuck with their shit.
Tell the motherfucker that the last motherfucker that you got into an argument with, tell him you're sorry. Apologize. You know what I'm saying? And
one of our guests that was on the show a while back, I don't need to say no names, but with him 10 years ago, I knew him 10 years ago, and yeah, he was, every time he saw me, he was trying to battle me. Every time he saw me, it was some like, you ain't on this, you ain't on that shit, whatever. But it was like serious. It wasn't like a joke in between homies. It was like serious. But years later, he got sober and came up to me and said, hey, look, man, I want to apologize for anything I ever said to you while I was drunk. I didn't mean that shit. Whatever, and we were able to like fix our relationship and we're cool nowadays. So yeah, man, I think just acknowledging if you did something wrong, walking up, looking that man in the eye, talking to them, you can fix shit. Like you said, you know what, like I didn't really look at it probably before this conversation, but when you said, hey, everything's fixable besides death,
yeah,
because to me in my mind there's shit that's not, you know, but it's cool to look at it like that too, how you said it, because even still now, I think, man, there's just some shit that's just not fixable. Like
there is. Everything's fixable.
If a motherfucker did some shit here in your house to one of your family members, it's not death, right?
It's gonna be death. Don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get that shit. I don't
mean like that. Like it was an argument or it was a disrespect. Some words were said that weren't supposed to be said. Like
if words are said that weren't, words are words, man. Words are words. I can get over the words. I can get over the words. Being physical about something is completely different, I think, and that's what we should be alluding to.
That's what I was alluding to, not the physical, because just some like words. You're trying to kill motherfucker around the show, like
no. Like, for instance, we talk about violence in the city of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And conflict resolution. There shouldn't be any reason why a motherfucker couldn't resolve a conflict without shooting a motherfucker. You know what I mean? We should have some critical thinking up in there before you decide to pick up a fucking gun, or before you decide to slap your woman, or before you decide to beat your children, or before you decide to, you know, do things because of a conflict, because of a misunderstanding, because of words. You know what I mean? You should be able to, I don't know, for one thing, just take yourself out of the situation for a minute. Take a breather so you can think about it before you make a life-changing fucking decision.
But sometimes people need someone critical to come in and think like somebody like you. Shout out to Tio Hardiman with Violence Interrupter. Shout out Tyrone Muhammad, ECCSC. Like those guys go out there into the neighborhoods and they'll do shit like that. They'll know this guy's beefing and this guy's beefing and they're about to shoot and they'll come and talk to them and do.
But a lot of people. This is why this topic is so important, because a lot of people never had any type of critical thinking in their home, or any type of conflict resolution understanding in their home.
Nope.
I know people that have grown up and in their home and in their environment inside their home behind closed doors that if everybody wasn't fighting, something is wrong.
Or you know how they fix shit by putting their fucking fist in your face. And so that translates into like relationships when they get fucking older. They don't know how to conflict resolute because at the house when they grew up, the dad used to resolve the shit by slapping their mom.
Big
or
shit.
The mom
Real talk.
slapped the dad or, you know, whatever. So yeah, they don't fucking know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
But that's why outside people, when they go and they do these things, these marches, or go into neighborhoods and talk to this person and that person, because what they're really doing is trying to teach them conflict resolution. They're teaching them critical thinking. Because the truth is, if you fly off the handle, it could change your life. You know what I mean? You fly off the handle and shoot a motherfucker, you won't be thinking about that. You'll be thinking about something completely different standing in front of that judge. You'll be thinking, what the fuck did I just do? My whole life is done now. I mean, you're done. You may as well be dead. I liken prison to being alive and dead at the same time, because you're cut off from every fucking thing. You're basically socially and from a human standpoint, as far as what we all need from other human beings, touch and empathy and compassion and understanding, all of that shit's out the window. When you get locked up, all that shit's gone. You know what I'm saying? And if you do get some touching and some compassion, it's probably the wrong type in prison. You know what I'm saying? Or
that's
jail.
why they say reach them while like they're young. We used to go to the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center and bring pizza to the kids and talk to the kids, and they never gave a shit anything. As soon as we show up with the food, they didn't really care. They'll get the food, they were happy. But as soon as we start talking music, boom, they were able to listen. And some of them kids never heard about hip hop. They didn't know about that music can be like positive and dope. They just know what they know. They know that street shit.
Right.
But that's why it's important to get to somebody that's young to help them conflict resolve and have the tools to do that shit. Like, you know, it's teach them how to walk away from some shit versus turn around and pull their strap out and say, what?
Right.
Because in the song they heard earlier, it says, I'm going to spin the block on your ass, and they're ready.
One of the things we got to stop doing is blaming music, although it does play a big part.
It's a huge part of it. Yeah, man, the 90s here in Chicago, all the music that people grew up, all the fucking psychodrama, Do or Die, Crucial Conflict, The Snipers, all that shit is about, it's just 90s fucking trap. It's 90s trap with different beats. Like, it was what it was. But yeah, I mean, I've never fucking picked up a gun because a song told me to do it. But, you know, there's some really impressionable young kids out here that definitely fucking do. They look up to King Von. King Von is their idol. What does King Von say? Ain't no squashing beef. We into it till you die. Like, that shit impregnates people's minds as in some form or fashion. That's why, like, I don't know, bro. I don't like nitpick like who I'm gonna have like when I have people on the cypher, but like I'll try to at least kind of keep it to where I know dude's not a straight up street dude that's about to come on here and talk about AKs and laying people out and shit. So, you know.
I wanna read this about critical thinking real quick. Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief. As a guide to belief and action. What does that mean? It means you think about shit before you fucking do it. If I break that down to the simplest form, That's take a step back and think before you do something, to think before you speak, to listen, analyze, process it, to think before you do something. Why is critical thinking important? Let me get to that real quick. It helps to improve decision making. It enhances problem solving abilities. It refines your research skills. It polishes your creativity, and it stimulates curiosity. All of those things are good for you in an everyday life. You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, it's helpful and important to have that in your tool belt or toolbox when dealing with conflict. Is it because now what I do, what I work really hard on doing every day, I can't say that I'm really good at it yet, but what I work really hard on doing is taking a step back and processing things. That shit don't always work. Don't get me wrong. It's shit. I'm no fucking angel. Shit don't always work, because sometimes I even get the best of shit. Just gets the best of me, even while I'm trying to process it, and as I'm trying to, not trying, but as I'm processing it, and as things are going on in my mind, there's a ton of other shit, and I'm still working on all of those things. It's not an excuse, because I take full responsibility and accountability for it. But it doesn't. I'm not a professional at it. You know what I'm saying? But all of that shit, as D-Nick would say, all of that shit is muscle memory. So the more I practice that line of thinking, and the more I practice and put those things into place, the better I become at it. So also being aware of that shit is extremely important. So sometimes even being aware of it, you just got to kind of sit back and listen and be aware. Because like in doing that, I pay way more attention to what I'm getting ready to say than I do what the other person is saying. So I have to be careful with that, because I'm so careful now about what I say, because a lot of things before in the past has been really misconstrued, because I was just flying off at the mouth and saying things without giving them real thought first. You know what I'm saying? And now when I work on this and do this now, I process it first, and I'm very careful of what I say, because I don't want nobody coming back to me and saying, no, you said this, you said that. No, I know exactly what the fuck I said, because I know exactly that I was sitting back thinking about it before I said it.
And you're saying it with a straight mind too.
Yeah, and I'm saying it straight as fuck. Yeah, without a doubt. I don't have anything clouding my judgment. You know, and so when I say something, especially in the midst of something, you know, I have gotten into verbal conflicts even within the last couple of weeks, and in the midst of it, I had to catch myself before I said something real fucking foul and real fucked up, and then I listened. And then I said something else. I said something completely different than what I initially was going to say. But I was also in that same breath, I was like, "Why are you upset?" Because another part of conflict resolution is asking, being inquisitive. Ask the other person, "What is the problem? Why are you upset? What have I done to upset you?" Because if I understand how I upset you, then it makes it easier for me to fix. You know what I'm saying? It makes it easier for me to give you resolution.
But what's the answer that a woman will give you when you ask that?
What's that?
What's the typical answer a woman will give you when you ask that question?
I don't know what the typical woman would say.
The typical answer, I think, would be, you know what you did.
Okay.
Because
if I ask, and I would probably ask it again. Because if I don't understand something, I'm going to ask a question, right? So if I say I don't know what I did, I had this conversation with someone before, maybe like a year or so ago. They were like, "You know what you did," and I was like, "Actually, I don't." That's why I'm asking you, what have I done? Because I don't know what you're talking about. And they kept saying, "You know what you did. You know what you did." And I kept saying, "No, I don't. This is why I'm asking you, because I don't know what it is I've done." And if I know what I did, then it makes it much easier for me to either own that shit, lie about that shit, or whatever in the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest about it and I'm saying, yo, I don't know, please tell me what it is that I've done so we can get past this. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it's so much more important to get past shit. We can't forget things. If I did something to somebody emotionally or physically, they may not ever forget it. They shouldn't. They wouldn't. But that doesn't mean they can't forgive and move forward. It's a choice. I can choose to be mad at Jizzo forever, you know, because you said something slick to me. But I can also choose to be like, you know what? That was the heat of the moment. I feel like he's a better person than that. So let me holler at my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or if it's whoever, if it's Cam, if it's Ill for Real, or anybody, you know, any friend or anyone that says something or does something out of line, out of pocket to me that I felt was disrespectful or I felt like was whatever, you know, I can choose to forgive that shit. I can choose to, you know, I can choose to talk to you about it, not you personally. I can choose to talk to that person and ask them, you know, why'd you say that? You know what I mean? What would drive you to say that about me? And, you know, you'd be surprised. Sometimes, you know, people just, they need to be asked that. You know, what is it that I've done?
Yeah, honesty. It's this may be slightly off, but I watching this dating show called Pop the Balloon, and when they do pop the balloon, the person has to stand in front of that person and tell them exactly why they popped the balloon, what they didn't like about them, and I was just observing that part of the show, like the honesty portion that like people need to hear, you know. And maybe it's all personal opinion anyway, because the chick will say, I don't like your hair, or the guy will be like, you need to be thicker or whatnot. But I just like the straight upness of it. Like, we're just being straight up, like, tell the truth. This is why I don't want you, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, honesty.
Yeah. Honesty is going to be the key to all of this. Honesty, accountability, listening. Yeah, man. Listening skills are fucking so underrated. So and overlooked, I think.
Overlooked big time, because you don't get enough credit for fucking sitting there and listening to
You shouldn't have to get credit. You shouldn't even be looking for credit, though.
I'm just saying, within stature, within the discussion that's happening, within the exchange of words, that, like, you know, I listen to you, I listen to what you say, I listen to you tell me that I'm a bad person or blah blah blah. But I sat there and I listened, and then I responded. Mm-hmm. What's the saying people are saying now? That listen to understand, not listen to respond. Right. So yeah, listening.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill that a motherfucker would have to work on.
Unless you're talking some bullshit, and I know it's some bullshit, I don't want to hear it. You know, but if I know that this could fix the situation, we're both talking some real shit, then yeah, of course.
Something to think about. All of this is something to think about, because every single day, especially as men and men of color, brown, black, there is no such thing as a green person. But peanut gallery. Okay. We deal with conflict every day when we walk outside. We deal with internal conflict, not to mention the stresses and the things that happen outside of this, the emotional safety of our home, if there is any emotional safety in the home, you know. So it's a lot, and I think this is a topic that we should probably touch on more so than not, because I think it's important. I think that critical thinking is extremely important. I think we need to be focused on some of those things a little bit more, because if we're truly here to help and we're truly here to be doing this shit, these are the kind of things we need to be talking about. Because there's people out there, to be honest, they don't. It's not that they just don't understand it, right? They don't understand. Like, if I read all that shit off that I just read off about critical thinking and, let's see, where was it at? When the person, if I read that shit off right, and I'm just talking to the average person, and I say, hey, critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, exactly.
You lost me the first time. I just ain't want to admit it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of it is that all that shit is saying, hey, man, shut the fuck up and listen.
I got that part of it.
Shut the fuck up. Process the shit, my mans. In other words, if you hear something you don't like, don't just fucking react. Think about it. Give it a minute. Process that shit. Is the motherfucker really, 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 really attacking you, or are they just saying something just because they're mad? You know what I'm saying? And we all say shit when we get mad and we get upset. There's not a motherfucker on this planet that is free of guilt from that. You know what I'm saying? So, conflict resolution and goddamn conflict fucking critical thinking, I mean, we need to talk about these things, but we need to talk about them. Sure, we can read the intellectual part of this shit, but at the same time, I think we need to be talking about it in ways that a motherfucker could understand it, because just like you just said a minute ago, shit, I lost you at fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
think about it, if you're sitting somewhere on the block and a motherfucker comes up because you get into an argument, like, if you analyze and process and
get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Because the first thing, like, do you hear what the fuck he just said to me?
Yeah.
Ain't trying to hear no process, analyze. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. But if I say, hey, bro, chill. Hold on. Listen to me real quick. Just relax for a minute, man. Take a deep breath.
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this real quick.
How to just fix this shit and walk away from it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen motherfuckers where one dude was so elevated and the other person was like, hey, bro, I don't have a problem with you, man. Chill. Like, just take a breath real quick, man. Let's talk about this. Because no one really wants that end shit to happen.
No, because you be shocked on both ends. You be shocked about the shit you did, and you be shocked about the shit somebody that you didn't think was gonna do that shit did. Like significant other, a brother, a father, a parent. Somebody fucking get into some shit.
Check this out. So last night, the co-host for Unwrap went to a party last night, and the party got shot up. But here's the thing: the motherfucker who pulled the gun out, they took the gun from him and shot him with his own shit and killed him.
Wow.
Okay? Now think about that for a second. Had he had a little critical thinking, I'm outmanned, I'm outgunned, I'm out whatever, or maybe I shouldn't pull this fucking gun out. Maybe those are just fucking words and I can get over that shit, because you can't get over death. You know what I'm saying? I had to tell the motherfucker before when somebody we both know said, oh, that's cool, because when I die, I'm going to be at my funeral wearing all white, drinking Hennessy and laughing with everybody and hugging the homies that I've already... No, the fuck you're not.
You'll be dead.
You're dead, nigga. That's it. End of story, end of discussion. You're not going to be in the fucking church looking at your body in the casket, shaking hands with your dead homies, everybody drinking Hennessy and smoking a fucking blunt, and you're laughing at all the stories they're telling about you. That ain't gonna happen, bro. You're dead.
Your ass, I have a toe
tag. Nigga, you are in a box.
Downtown
it's over with.
With a toe tag.
It's over with.
Yeah.
And all of those types of things could have not happened. They could have, before it got to that point, could have been resolved. Could have fucking walked away. Could have taken a deep breath and said, you know what? This just ain't it right now. You know what I'm saying? I already had a fucked up day. A lot of times I'll have a fucked up day and I'll just need to go and sit somewhere and just chill the fuck out, because if I don't, I feel like I'll jap the fuck out. And so sometimes I need to just go sit down and fucking breathe and not hear anything, not hearing, just in pure silence. Because sometimes I feel like if I don't, I'm going to lose my shit, and I don't want to lose my shit. You know what I'm saying? Those days of having these fucked up thoughts and wanting to just take everything and attack everything with pure fucking violence, or just doing shit just because somebody pissed me off or whatever, them days is over with. Because I never got anything resolved or anything fixed by thinking that way and by reacting and behaving that way. And nothing. If anything, I've trashed shit in my life because of that. And I'm lucky to be alive because the multiple, I can't even begin to say how many times I shouldn't even fucking be here because of the way I behaved and the way that I acted and the things that I've done. So it's important, I think. I think this topic is extremely important, you know, especially in the climate that we live in today, man. It's extremely important.
We should definitely revisit it on different like I don't know, different avenues of it. You know, maybe pick a certain thing, how to conflict resolve in the street, or how to conflict resolve in a relationship. Maybe we could go into like different versions of it like that. Get D-Nick on it.
Ain't no maybes to it. We're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, a lot of times when we do this show, I think the thoughts that go through my head and thinking about what I wish someone would have talked to me about many years ago, I think that even if it's the weirdest shit, I think those things are so fucking important because somebody needs to fucking hear it. Somebody needs to hear it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It may sound silly, you know, before we do the show and I say, oh, well, today we're going to talk about this. And it may sound silly. It may sound fucked up. It may sound stupid. It may sound like whatever. But I know in my mind and in my heart that somebody needs to hear it because I wish somebody would have said something to me or at least tried to explain it to the best of their ability to me when I was younger. I would have probably made a million less mistakes and a million less fucked up behavioral fucking patterns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It used to be you live and you learn. Now you live and watch podcasts and learn.
Go to YouTube. This is YouTube University, man. Come on. Come on, man. We live in this shit every fucking day. And that's why this show is so fucking important to me. It really, really is. I wouldn't give a shit if this show ever made a fucking penny. I wouldn't give a shit if this show had only 5 views every fucking time we did it. Because the people that are watching it, they need to watch it. They're watching it because they needed it.
And we know that. We've seen the proof.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I loved what we were talking about, man. I think it was a really good discussion, a good talk tonight. And we're going to end it like that. We got a little bit of a peanut gallery. You guys, let me start you guys off with the last words, as we do at the end of every show.
Yo, what it do? It's for real right here. Yeah, I like the critical thinking aspect a lot. You know, a lot of people act irrationally, you know, or like impulsively. I mean, that's the better word for it. Just act on impulse, and there's just better ways of doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to put a little thought because you only get one shot sometimes. But you know, just remember to keep breathing through it.
Keep breathing.
Yeah.
Keep breathing through it, man. Shout out to Ill for real. Cam, last words.
Yo. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Yo, what's up? It's Cam the Don. Wooty woo. Shout out to Wooty woo. I think critical thinking is like very important because if you just act without thinking, a lot of bad things can happen. So always think before you do, and good things will come.
Okay. Think before you do shit. Good things will come.
Yeah, and
What about you, sir?
what was most important to me, because it's helped me like recently, is just allowing for both parties to get their part off in the discussion. Like, you say what it was that bothered you, I'll tell you maybe why that happened, but as long as both parties get the time to listen, the time to respond. So I think that was what I got that was the most important out of this for me, was just make sure that you listen so that you can speak when it's your time.
Word. Yeah, I agree with everybody that spoke. If the last thing that I would want to say to anybody that's listening right now, and I think it's really important, and that is, don't worry about it. You're not going to be perfect at it. You're not going to be good at it. You're not going to become some expert of conflict management overnight, conflict resolution. You're not going to become this professional critical thinker overnight. Just give yourself time. Work on it. Work out that muscle of a brain you got. You know what I'm saying? Just like going to the gym. Be mindful of it. When you start to feel your blood boiling a little bit, take a deep breath. Calm yourself down. Rethink before you blurt shit out. Listen to the other person. Gather your thoughts before you react. Be mindful of it. Work at it every day. You'll get better and better at it. Like I said, I'm not perfect at it, but I work at it every day. This has been a check-in, man. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday. Peace.
Peace, y'all.